You are listening to 600 Saga. Today's feature is On Fire by Mariah Avix. The night of the carnival, I was excited for the show, the fun, the people, everything. I could let go for the evening. My fire wouldn't destroy me tonight. The fire would fuel the show. Getting the fire out made everything easier. I could breathe when I wasn't being suffocated by the fire. I felt the pull. My king was incredible, as always, pulling me to him. I loved him. I feared him. We had to be together. He could take the fire out of me. I could keep him from burning down the world. I watched my king stand back while his jesters teased and cajoled the crowd. I danced and cheered, arm in arm with a new friend. She was a bright spark. She laughed and gaped. Then my king stepped in. I fed him my power. He danced with the fire. He looked at my new friend like he thought she had power. I had to protect her. I gave him more fire. He drank it in and dazzled the audience. After the carnival show, we ate and rejoiced and went out to where our kingdom met the sea. I watched the sea through a bonfire. It was perfect. I had to sleep out here. When I slept, the fire would creep out of me. If my power was gone, I could go home. I could stay with my mom. I could sleep in a nice, soft bed. I smiled at the thought. I tried to stay awake most nights to keep the fire in. When I did sleep, it was mostly on the sand. Even when the fire escaped, there was nowhere for it to go on the long, empty sand dunes. Sometimes the sea would come and lick me when the fire became too much. I was alone in the fire. No one else understood it. No one else saw it. No one except the King of Fire. He pulled it from me. He controlled the fire. Controlled me. If I didn't have him, I might have to go to the sea. Stay until it extinguished my flame. I looked through to the sea. The new girl was standing at the edge. The King of Fire stood next to her. He was trying to suck the life from her. I had to stop him. I started to call to her. She shoved him away and ran down the sand. I watched until I couldn't see her flicker of power anymore. She was safe. Tonight. My king turned back toward me and the jesters. His fury burned through me. He opened his mouth and breathed fire. When I slept that night, the sand around me melted into glass. The next day, I looked for the new girl. I had to warn her. She couldn't be close to the king. She had her own power. She had to protect it. I felt for her spark and went to her. I told her to stay away from me. I told her to stay away from my king. I tried to warn her of the destruction. She wouldn't listen. She couldn't hear me. My words vanished as I tried to speak them. I had to try something else. I had to make her hate me. Make her mad. Make her stay away. Steam rose where tears should have fallen. My king was mad. He wanted her power too. I gave him more and more of myself. I had to protect her, protect everyone, protect from him, protect from me. My king of fire needed more. He wanted people to know him, to feel his power. He performed many shows. He made me stand with the jesters, and the fire poured out of me. He would drink it all in. He would flaunt it. He would dance with my power. My fire was worse. I couldn't control it as well. It started to slip from my fingers. He wanted more power, more than I had. He started to search for someone else to pull power from. I had to protect people from his destruction. When he burned, he didn't try to control it. My king could destroy an entire kingdom and not care. I did everything I could to stop it. I fed him power. I kept him away from people until I had nothing left for myself. I had no power, no food, no air, and still he wanted more. He demanded a big show. He was going to show everyone that he was the real king of fire. He was going to light up the world. The best I could do was contain it. I had to contain the fire. I followed my king to the show. I couldn't see the people. They blurred. I couldn't see the jesters dancing around me. I turned to face the sea. I saw the spark of power from my new friend. I wished she could have been my new friend. I stood, blocking the sea and the spark from my king. I held my power tight. I felt the people standing next to me. I had to protect them. His jesters danced and juggled for the crowd. I felt the eyes of my king on me. He reached inside me. He grabbed every single bit of my power. He glowed. I could hear the fire talking to me, calling to me. I heard people gasp and cheer. But the fire didn't want my king. It wanted me. It leapt at me. It danced on my skin. People around me screamed. I had to protect them from the fire. I tried to reach for my king, beg him to help me. He'd left, disappeared, abandoned me. The sea. If I could get to the sea, I could quench the flames. I could stay in the sea, protect the people. I turned. Something held me. I pushed, I stumbled, I reached out. I had to get to the sea to protect them. I couldn't move. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't get to the water. I burned. I was nothing. I was fire. This was On Fire by Mariah Avix. More work can be found at 600 Second Saga. Check our show notes for links. Music is provided by Mads. Learn more about 600 Second Saga, our authors, and how to submit your flash fiction, and how to support the podcast in the show notes. This has been Mariah Avix and 600 Second Saga.